Hello, eSchool Cambodia students. I want to welcome you back to a new Interchange, book number 3. We're in Unit 2 and we're still on page 8. We'll erase this. And we're at exercise number 1, which is called the snapshot. Snapshot. And you remember, snapshot is a photograph, or it's a picture. And so the picture, the snapshot lesson in New Interchange explains about the big picture in the unit. It explains and introduces us to the subject, the theme, and the topics that we will be studying. And so career moves. And so a career is a job that will lead us to the future that we want. And so a job is the work that we do to get money. And so sometimes we work a job because we need the money. Sometimes we work a job because we're moving toward a career. And so snapshot, unique jobs. And so we want to talk about some unique, can you say that? Unique. You need to hear the, it's not unique, you need to hear the Q sound. That's actually the K sound. Unique. Q makes the K sound. Q-U is always unique. But here it's just the K sound. Unique. We need to hear the K sound. Unique jobs means unusual jobs. Jobs out of the ordinary that are different from other kinds of jobs. And so before we do that though, I forgot, I want to again just talk briefly about comparison words, because in this unit we're studying about advantages and disadvantages, and we're also studying about comparison words. Okay, so this is not in your book, but to compare means to it means that we're taking one thing and we're looking at two things and we're looking at how are they different. Jobs, advantages, disadvantages, good, bad. So we compare quality, we compare quantity, and but we're looking at two different things. It may be, we're looking, I have a guitar here in my studio, and so maybe I'm looking at two different guitars and I'm comparing them. And so I use comparison words to find out which one I like better. Okay, so comparison words. And so we use compare to something and compare with something. Look at the slide. Compare to is used to liken two things. How are they similar? You compare this guitar to another guitar. How are they similar? Well, this guitar has 6 strings. This guitar also has 6 strings. This guitar has a hole in the middle. This guitar has a hole in the middle. This guitar has a neck. This guitar also has a neck. This guitar is brown. This one is brown also. So when we say I'm comparing my guitar to another guitar, that means I'm looking for something that is similar in the two objects. Jobs. We can compare jobs. We're talking about jobs and careers. We can compare one job and another job. And so I had the opportunity a few years ago to change my career path. My career has been working with organizations. My career has been helping people for almost 40 years. For almost 40 years, my career has been with organizations. My career has been with teaching. My career has been with helping people. And so maybe 15 years ago now, I had the opportunity to change my career path. We call it a career, to change my career, or to change my career path. And so one business wanted me to be a manager with them, and another organization wanted me to be a director with them. And so when I compared them to one another, how are they similar? And so I made a list. Okay, they're similar. I get a salary. I don't get paid by the hour, but I get a salary every month. And both of them have benefits, and so I compared the positive characteristics, and I compared how are they similar. And then I compared them with, compare to something to find how are they similar, and then I compared them with each other to find how are they different. The slide that you says compare with is used to juxtapose two things. That word, juxtapose, I've never used that word. I'm 66 years old. I've never used that word one time in my life. And so it's a word we don't use very often. Compare with is used to compare how they are different, to show the difference. I can't even say it. Is juxtapose means how are they opposite, to put opposite one another. That's what it means. But I never use that word. I say opposite. It's easier, simple. So we compare to find they're similar. We compare with to find how they are different. And so how were the jobs different? Well, one job had a lot of hours. I worked inside most of the time, and I was the manager over a department, responsible for a lot of finances. But the other job, I worked with people. And I worked inside an office, but I got to go outside a lot too, and I got to travel. One job I didn't travel, the other job I did travel. And so I compared one job with another job, and I chose working with the organization. Even though the job with the business gave me more money and maybe a better future, but I decided to work with the organization because it was according to my career path. It was according to what I did for many years already, and so I made the choice to take less money so I could do the job that I like to do. And so those are comparison words, and if you look at the next slide, here are just an example of some comparison words. Better, worse. One job is better than the other. One job is worse than the other. More difficult, less difficult. One job is more difficult than the other. This job is more difficult than that job. That job is less difficult than this job. Pays more, pays less. This job pays more, that job pays less. Easier, more difficult. This job is easier. That job is, we can say, more difficult, or we can say harder. Okay, we can say this job is easier, that job is harder or more difficult. This job is a white-collar job. This job is a blue-collar job. White-collar job, you know, a collar is what is on your, I don't have a collar on this shirt, but usually I wear a shirt that has a collar and I have a tie. White-collar job refers to a job in an office, a professional job. Blue-collar means a repairman, electrician, somebody that works at not in an office. Professional, and a comparison word is the opposite would be unskilled or a laborer, or really the opposite of professional is amateur, that last word on your screen, amateur. Professional and amateur. And so professional means you have a lot of education, you have a lot of skills, and you're really good at doing it. Then we have most interesting and least interesting. And so this job, we can say, is more interesting than that job. That job is less interesting than this job. Or we can say, this job is the most interesting. That job is the least interesting. Okay? And so we're just going to look at unique jobs very quickly in about 5 minutes, for about 5 minutes. Unique or unusual jobs. And so here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different jobs that are unique. You don't think about them. You don't think that that's the kind of job that I want to do. They're unique, they're different from other jobs. And so one is called a personal shopper. A personal shopper is someone who shops. You know, shop means a shopper is someone who, shopper is a noun, and it's a person who goes to buy something. So when you go to the mall or you go to the market to buy fruit or to buy food or to buy clothing, you're a shopper. You're a shopper and you are shopping. Okay, so shopping is the verb, the continuous form. Shopping, the shopper goes to the shop to do shopping. I'm shopping. What are you doing today? I'm shopping. So what this means is a personal shopper, it means I'm really busy. I don't have time to go to the market. I don't have time to buy these things. And so I hire someone to work with me and they go and buy it for me. I pay them to go buy food for me, to go to the market, to buy fruit. I tell them what I want and they go buy it, or maybe sometimes even clothes. I tell them what color I want, what size I want, or shoes, or whatever I want to buy. This person is my personal shopper. That's a job. Do you think you would like that job? The other one is a gossip columnist. Okay, so column, you know what a column A and column B is. And so a column in a newspaper, this is what it's talking about, someone who writes in a newspaper or someone who writes in a blog online. So a column is like a newspaper article. And so this is a noun also, a gossip columnist. Can you say that? Gossip is ni'idam. Gossip, column, columnist. Column is. So it's the word column and we add ist, columnist. A gossip columnist is someone who writes about famous people's lives. And so people who are famous, he or he writes, tells what they do every day. And that's a job. People get paid to do that. Another unique job is a chocolate taster. This person gets paid to eat candy, to taste the candy and say it's good or it's not good, and gives their opinion. It needs more sugar, it needs less. There's a chocolate taster, a wine taster, a food taster. These are jobs that people get paid for. And another unique job is a menu writer. And you know what a menu is? Menui. A menu is the list of food in a restaurant. This person's job is to create the menu, to write about the food, chooses the right words to describe a restaurant's food. That's a job. I did that one time. I wrote the menu for a restaurant one time because another part of my career is writing. And so that's a job. And then the fifth one is a toy tester. A toy tester. And so a factory makes toys and they hire people to test the toys. Are the toys good quality? Do the toys break easily? Are the toys dangerous? And so they hire someone like you and me to play with the toys. And we test the toys. And so we decide if the new toy is fun and if it's safe. And so these are 5 unique jobs. And so what are some other unique jobs? For example, a clown. Do you know what a clown is? Some people, it's their job. They get paid to be a clown. They go to birthday parties, they go to other parties, and they dress up like a clown and they do things funny and make people laugh. It's their career, it's their job. Another one is what they call it, a jet test pilot. They make airplanes. You know, the factory makes airplanes. Someone has to test the airplanes. They have to test the seat, they have to test flying it, and so a jet test pilot. So test pilot, that's the job, is a test pilot, and they fly the airplane to test it. That's a job. Another is a comic book writer. Do you know the Sipao Takta? Then so they have the magazine that has the pictures in it, the cartoon pictures. Somebody gets paid to do that. And so these are some examples of some unique jobs. And the questions that they have for us is, put the jobs in order to the most interesting and the least interesting. So there's 5 jobs: personal shopper, gossip columnist, chocolate taster, menu writer, and toy tester. Which of those jobs are the most interesting to you? And you put number 1. And then the second most, the third most, the fourth most, and then the 5th is the least interesting. And so which job is the most interesting to you? Let's just say it like this to make it easy. Number 1, out of these 5 jobs, what is the most interesting job for you? And secondly, number 2, what is the least interesting job? And so you send me a chat and you say, teacher, I want a sentence. Teacher, the most interesting job for me is personal shopper. The least interesting job for me is gossip columnist. Okay, so you write that to me as a chat, and it also asks, what are 3 jobs in your culture that might seem unusual to a person from another culture? So we live in Cambodia, and so what is a unique job that maybe only they do in Cambodia? It's a unique job. Maybe a prahok seller. So somebody who catches the baby fish and somebody who makes prahok. I don't think they have that kind of a job in the United States or in Europe or in Canada. Okay, and so what's another kind of unique job in Cambodia? Okay, I don't know. And so you think, if you can think of any unique jobs that we have in Cambodia that maybe they don't have in Europe or Australia, then you send that to me also. Teacher, I think this is a unique job in Cambodia. Okay, so that finishes the snapshot, exercise number 1. You have a little bit of homework now. Do the homework, send me the chats. I recommend that you watch this video again and practice saying everything after me.